Today is February 2nd, 2022. It's Groundhog Day, and there is a big snowstorm moving through the whole country, going all the way from Texas up in through Kentucky and Indiana, and moving up into Ohio and Michigan and heading up to the Northeast. And we're supposed to get anywhere from 12 inches to 24 inches worth of snow. Let me tell you, that is a lot of snow. I don't care who you are. And last week, I think it was about a week ago, the Northeast was just hit by a huge nor'easter that just had all kinds of bad, damaging winds, and I think there was ice, and I know for sure there was a ton of snow, 3 foot of snow in some places, maybe even more than that. And there's millions of people without electricity. I'm not sure at this point if they're back in order or not, but they're about to get hit again. I think it was last year that Texas was hit by that big storm and had all kinds of just millions of people without power. And so what better time for us to be taking a look at our kerosene heater, which has been neglected just a little bit here recently. You can tell here all on the top, it's all black and sooty. And what happened was, with this, I put it outside before it got cold to let the wick burn off, which is something that you should do probably once a year, something like that, usually at the end of the season, but I didn't do it at the end of last season, so I did it at the beginning of this one. And I neglected the unit, left it outside. It was on empty already, but it burned a lot longer than I thought. I came back out and it was just burning off, and this whole thing was covered in soot because when I put it outside there was no wind, and then all of a sudden a bunch of wind came through and it was just blowing and a big mess. So here we are, and I need to get this thing going because you just never know. We're not supposed to have a bunch of wind today with this storm, but you just never know what's going to happen, and you want to be prepared. I don't want to have to clean this out and get it all fixed up when we're out of power, so and out of heat. Now we do have gas powered heating here, but you have to have electricity as well for the central unit. So what we're going to do today is just give this a good cleaning. I'm going to take a look at the wick as well. I do have a wick here that we can use. This is the Dyna-Glo wick, but they just rebrand them for whatever. And I think this is like, I don't remember, $10, something like that. It comes with igniter and then the wick, and you change both of those out. So we'll see how the wick is. I think the wick is in good shape, so I don't think we're going to have to do anything with this. But if we do, I'll create a separate video for that. And I have other things that we need here. Have a little scrub brush. We'll talk about this again, but we do not want to use a stiff bristle brush like this on the wick because it could damage the wick. So we'll talk about that more in a second, but this would be good to use like around the container itself and around the cylinder, and just to get that soot off of there. I'm going to use some gloves because I don't want my hands to be covered in kerosene and soot. And this is just an additive. I have this laying out here. This helps with the smell in the kerosene heaters. And at first when I bought this, I thought this isn't going to do anything, but actually it does help some. It's makes a noticeable difference. Also for cleaning, I have some Simple Green, which I really like this stuff. It's not like, it's kind of deceiving because I feel like they make you think that it's completely natural, and it's not. But it's much safer than other things that I could be using, and it's biodegradable. And so what I did is buy this extra spray bottle. I think this was about 10 bucks, but this is highly concentrated, and so I did a 1:1 ratio in this bottle for heavy duty use, but for general purpose use it's actually 10:1, so 1 part Simply Green and 10 parts water. So you can see how for general purpose use this stuff could go a long ways. You can save a lot of money by buying the concentrate, but we're going to be using that inside of this here. And so let's go ahead and take this thing apart, and I'll show you how to clean this unit up and how to get it apart and all that good stuff. Okay. As you can see here, this top just lifted right off, and it's pretty dirty there on the inside. Just when I run my finger over it, then there's soot that comes off of the top. So we definitely got to clean that up. At this point, I'm going to just set this cage aside, and here we have a screw, and then we have, again, one on the other side. So I'm going to just get my hands off here. I definitely want to wear gloves. You don't have to wear gloves, but like I said, I just don't want to get soot and kerosene on my hands. We shouldn't come into contact with a lot of kerosene. So I'm going to put this on its lowest setting, and I'm going to take this off. All right, there's one. And there's two. Set the screws aside, and this will lift right off. Now, one thing I want to do is I want to take a look at this. I want to take a look at this wick here on the inside. Just see how it looks. Shouldn't look too bad considering that's not very old. I don't use it a whole lot. I use it every once in a while. Warm up the garage, take the edge off, and I definitely want to have it ready to go for emergency situations. But the top really looks good, and you can see here around the top just how it looks, that it really just doesn't look all that bad. If we can come in closer here, you can see that there's a little bit of carbon buildup on this. I'm just going to run my finger over it. If this had a lot of carbon buildup, little balls of carbon, then we would get a toothbrush, and we would just gently rub that, but ultimately you can see there, if I can get it in focus, you can see there that the carbon buildup really isn't that bad. So the wick is fine. We're not going to have to change the wick out today, so that'll be for another day. If you're having problems with your kerosene heater of this type or even a different type, and you're thinking that the wick could be the problem, well, it always could be. If you have low heat output, that is, you have everything else running as you think it should, but you're just not getting a lot of heat from the unit, or if your kerosene heater it's no matter how you adjust the knob, you get a kerosene smell, or you have a flickering in the flame, and you can't get rid of that flickering, and then the flickering will cause smoke to be off-put as well as carbon buildup and things like that. If it's slow to warm, if it's hard to adjust this knob, if you're trying to adjust the knob and it just gets stuck and doesn't want to go up or go down, and you have problems with that, it should be real easy to turn. If you're having problems with that, then that could mean that your wick is bad and is built up with gunk, with carbon. And also, if it's difficult to light, if you're using the electric igniter, or you have a matchstick and you're trying to light it and it just won't light, then there's a good chance that you have a bad wick, or that you just have a lot of carbon buildup. So you just need to take this off like this and check out the wick and see how it is, and you might need to change it out. One thing with this cleaner is that you don't want to get the cleaner into where the wick is, or into where any of these parts are, or where you're going to have a chance of it getting into the kerosene and contaminating the kerosene. So that's definitely the case. I mean, this probably wouldn't do anything as far as causing any fires, but there are some cleaners out there that it would be just dangerous to get it in this part. So this looks fine. It's no big deal. So all I'm going to do here is just get a towel, a different towel, a clean towel, and I'm going to wet the towel, and then I'm just going to just clean up here where there's some soot around the edges and around the base, just to kind of clean it up a little bit, and then we'll let that make sure that's dry before we put it back together. And that's all I'm going to do here. Okay, so I'm going to do like I said. I just got this paper towel a little bit wet, and I'm going to just wipe around here. I'll start at the top, and I'm not gonna touch the inner part of the unit. I'm just going to get around here on the base, the casing on the base. Just wipe it around here. I just want to try to get some of this soot off of here, clean it up real good. You should clean your kerosene heater like this at least once a year. You might want to do it twice a year, but at least once a year. I think at the end of the season is a great time to do that, but you could do it at the end of the season or the beginning. And of course, you need to watch if you use it a whole lot, or if it was like mine, if it was out in the wind, and then you're going to have to do it more often maybe. But definitely at least once a year you need to clean this thing off. And don't just watch this video, but get out your manual and take a look at what the manufacturer's manual says for how you are to clean these things and stuff. To tell you the truth, mine didn't say a whole lot about it, but maybe you'll be more fortunate with yours. So I'm going to set this aside. And at this point, I'm going to just go ahead and start here in the top, and I want to just give it a good cleaning. And so we'll just start by spraying some of our 1:1 ratio simple green in here. Just give it a few squirts. I'm just going to give it a good cleaning, and that soot should come off pretty easily. It shouldn't be very difficult for you to get that off of there. And it really doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to make sure that your kerosene heater is safe to operate, that it's burning as clean as possible. And get this thing put back together. It's had a few minutes to dry out. Everything looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and reassemble this. And of course, this is the front of the unit. The front of the base, and then this is the front of the barrel, and you can see pretty easily here how it's lined up. Of course, the window here, which you can now see through. I don't know if you can see my hand or not, but you can see through that window now to be able to see the flame. It's all cleaned out. And the window and the door, of course, aligns with the knob, and then you can see on the sides where the screws are, you can see the threading if you have it aligned properly. So we'll go ahead and get these screws put back in here. Now I have not cleaned the cage yet, but I'm going to clean that up real quick. That's not going to worry about showing you any details on that. It's pretty self-explanatory on how to clean the cage off. And after we get it all back together, I'll probably take a a cloth with a little bit more of the cleaner on it, just go around the outside just to kind of clean off a few areas that I missed, but overall this looks good. Okay, so here there is an arrow that's pointing to one of the sides. That's going to show you that the arrow is right here, and it's pointing down here to where this tab is. And so you need to make sure this hole is lined up with the hole on the side of your unit, because this is where the handle will fit into. And so the handle needs to fit inside this hole and then go through this on the inside. So it's not like it's a huge deal, but the handle is what helps to keep this lid from falling off, because it'll line up on this side and it'll also line up on the other side of the unit. See, because I got the handle going through the holes there, it can't be lifted up. So, well, that does it for our kerosene heater cleanup. And I know that it wasn't a real detailed video, but I hope that overall, generally speaking, it's helpful to you. And I know that some of you might have different kind of variations of this heater. And so leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know, let our other viewers know and readers in the community. Just let us know what your thoughts are on this. If you would do something a little bit different. I know there's always going to be somebody who's like, oh, you did it all wrong, or there's somebody that's going to be like, yeah, you did it just like I do it, or you know, there's going to be all kinds of thoughts. And I try not to take that stuff personally. It is what it is, and it's usually a good thing that we can help each other out with different opinions, different views on stuff. So go ahead and let me know about that in the comment section. And yeah, that's about it. So until next time, hope you have a good day, and I will see you soon.